Hi, this is Renee from the Fibre Co, and today I'd like to show you how we cast on for the Brandelhow sweater. Brandelhow was featured in the Best of the Fibre Company collection, and it is knit in this gorgeous lower yarn. It's 100% lamb's wool, and it's a DK weight. This is the colorway Heaven. Let's get started. Our instruction for our first tab begins by casting on a small number of stitches. I'm going to work with the smallest size, so I'm casting on 14 stitches, which I've done here, and then we begin to work a tab. So I begin by knitting one. That's our first instruction. Knit one, slip one with yarn in back, and I'm always going to do that purlwise unless I'm specifically instructed otherwise, and then we knit to the last two stitches. Down to my last two. Now I'm again going to slip that second to last stitch purlwise, leaving the yarn in back and knitting my final stitch. That's my first right side row complete. My wrong side row is simply going to be knit, and I'm going to repeat those two rows until I have, in my instruction for the smallest size, 7.5 centimeters of knitting, so about so much. And then I'm going to break the yarn and put that knitting on hold while I work the other tab. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then come back to you. Now I've knit both tabs or saddles of the saddle shoulder, and I'm ready to begin to join them and work the upper back. The last instruction on our saddle, our second saddle, is do not turn the knitting or break the yarn. So here's my working yarn, and I'm not going to turn it around, but I'm going to begin the upper back instruction with right side facing, rotate shoulder saddle 90 degrees clockwise. I'm going to place marker A here. And working along the selvage, I'm going to pick up 16 for my size stitches along this edge. So to do that, I'm going to take the yarn, the working yarn, in kind of a crochet or continental hold, and working along this edge, pick up 16 stitches with the tip of my needle here. That first one's going to be a little awkward. I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to go in under both legs of the first stitch and get my first stitch to pick up. And then I'm just going to go all the way along this edge, picking up these stitches and making sure that I have 16 at the end. You can probably hear it started to rain just in time for me to record this for you. But now I've picked up my 16 stitches along the edge, the selvage of my saddle, and now I'm going to cast on stitches for the back neck. For my size, I'm casting on 55 stitches, and I'm using the backwards loop cast on method, which means I am simply going to make a backwards loop, place it on my needle, and then tighten it up. So that's 1, 2, 3. It's just that easy. They're pretty snug. I'm not pulling them really tight, but I want them to just fit the needle. So I will come back to you when I've finished that. Okay, here it is, your cast on for Brandelhow. We started with our first tab, worked our first tab, put those stitches on hold, worked our second tab. Here are the live stitches from our second tab. We placed a marker, picked up stitches along our selvage, cast on stitches for the back neck, picked up the same number of stitches on our first tab along the selvage, including one stitch, live stitch, from the held stitches here, and left the remaining stitches on hold, and now you're ready to begin working the rest of the upper back. I hope that helped you out a bit, and I'll see you back here sometime for more tutorials.